Well, we're now in the old town of Tarragona. This takes you back to Roman times. Tarragona is often called the Roman city by the sea. And what you can see behind me is the cathedral, pretty massive. I've walked all around it and tried to get a picture of it to convey its size, but it's just so big. You'll see bits of it anyway. When we were on the tourist train, I've been through this old town twice on that particular one over the years. You don't see very much. You do go past the cathedral, but it's just a glimpse. You don't see a lot of the old town. Today we've been to a square called the Plaça del Fòrum, I think it was, the Forum Place Square. And it was literally every doorway was another bar restaurant, and it was very difficult, firstly, to know which one to choose, and secondly, to know which tables belong to which restaurant. Anyway, we'll go down to the square and have a look, just see how that's all laid out. When we first arrived here, they were still setting out the tables and it wasn't very busy, but that gathered speed towards lunchtime as I settled down to have some patatas bravas and a drink. It's very busy here and noisy. By the time we left that area, pretty much every seat was taken, but then as we wandered around the old town, we kept finding new places that we could stop and eat that weren't quite as busy. The old town attracts a lot of tourists, and there are plenty of places for them to go and see down the narrow streets, and then of course there's the old Roman ruins and buildings, and a lot of the tours through there are guided. As you can see, there are plenty of little bars and cafes tucked away, some of them a little bit elevated with some nice views. We went back round to where the cathedral is, and there's a map on the wall which explains how it was all set out in Roman times, but right now what's set out are little street markets. I think we'd probably call these flea markets. What it does give you though is a chance to see some of the cathedral building a little bit more close up. While I was in the old town, I came across the ultimate wall mural. It was a building that was obviously a completely blank canvas at the beginning, and the artist has painted on a number of apartments and balconies to make it look as though it's a proper house. He's got his own little advert on the bottom left, and his own cat appears there too, and he's got his own stable with a horse in it, and it's all just painted on. Back to our hotel, which is on the Market Square, and from there, as I've said before, you can walk out onto the Rambla Nova. That's the main big dual carriageway. We'll come back to that because on the Market Square, believe it or not, there's a market. We're on the 3rd floor of this hotel. We can see out onto the square in the room they've given us this time, but we can't see inside the market. We need to go for a walk through to see that. Know anything about the Mediterranean diet, you won't be surprised to see a whole load of vegetables on different stalls. You may be surprised at the size of some of these if you haven't been here before. And if you want any other kind of shopping, they've put the supermarket Mercadona in the basement, so you just go down an escalator. Perhaps the most dominant feature of the indoor market was the fish. I've never seen so many fish stalls selling so many different kinds of fish. It's been so hot while we've been here in Tarragona that it's been wise to keep indoors a lot of the time, or in the shade, and a lot of bars in the old town were in the shade, but also on the Market Square, particularly when the sun starts to get low in the afternoon, you can find shaded or sunny areas to go and sit and have a drink. As the afternoon progresses towards the evening, more and more families turn up after work and school presumably, and you will see families all over the square, and most of the bars then become full. As I pointed out before, the hotel in the Market Square is only a couple of 100 metres walk from the main Rambla Nova, which is a really wide dual carriageway with the traffic running down the left and the right hand sides, and the walkway in the middle, which is for pedestrians, is much wider than the roadways, and it gets used for various occasions. This one is another one of those markets. While we were walking down here, we spotted the tourist train going past, and it's only a quick walk round the corner to its pickup point, so there we are. We'll go and explore the area a little bit quicker by a train. Now this is called the Yelow train. I'm colourblind, but not that colourblind. It doesn't look a bit yellow to me. The tourist train is an ideal way to see the big picture of Tarragona, and then you can decide later where you might want to visit more specifically. It's also a good place to see the back of the amphitheatre from as you go past that, and then you progress down to the marina and the port, back through the main town. The final part of the journey is a bit of a detour up into the old town, which I've mentioned before. The blue train, or was it Yelow, takes you along the seafront. You get to see quite a lot of the beach. You also get to see the railway line and the railway station because these run parallel. You go through the port area and you then come past a whole row of restaurants and bars, so plenty of places to eat down here. While you're on this trip, you can decide where you want to come back to if you're here for a while. As we go back through the town, we spot the place that we stopped for breakfast this morning. It's just one of a load of cafes along this street. And finally we're back to the viewpoint, which is known as the balcony of Tarragona with its fantastic views. And before we leave the tourist train trip, I'd like to go back and show you some wall murals. I know I'm obsessed, but we passed a few good ones on the way. People always ignore me, you know. It's looking the other way. So there's the place where you catch the tourist train, and it brings you back to this point, and the arrow points to a lift which takes you down to the next level where there's a restaurant that we absolutely loved. The first time we came here, we discovered that you can't sit right on the edge unless you're having food, so the area over to the right is for those who just want a drink. So we sat there, we watched the kids playing in the playground, and then we went down another level to see what was below. From down here you can see back up to where we've just been, and we could see that sitting on the edge of the restaurant was definitely the best place to be, so we vowed to go back another day and eat there too. The first time I came to Tarragona years ago on the train, I remember stepping out onto the platform and you could see all these boats because all the transport links here are alongside each other, the roads, the railways and the boats. And just outside the railway station, there's some more wall murals. This is another view from our bedroom window in the hotel, showing when there was a market actually on the square outside. And this is a view of the main dual carriageway on a day when it was being used as the finishing line for some kind of race. We didn't stay to find out what that was because we wanted to go back to our restaurant and buy some food and get that view.
Know you've been a good friend, and that's in the thick and thin.
I had a really great burger, and Ruth, eating more healthily than me, had some fish.
'Cause you've been a good friend.
And unfortunately that was our last visit to the terrazza because we had to get a train up to the airport and go home. That isn't our train. Come to this particular point in Tarragona to explain to you how the different levels work. This is the level of the railway station, almost. We're actually just on a rise to cross it and go down back to the beach level. Behind us it's rising up towards the town centre. The town centre level is up there, and then there is a further higher level which is the old town. There's a smell of smoke now, so I'm not going to hang around here. It's coming from behind me, and it's coming from the railway embankment, so I'm going to clear out of here and just hope that we can get a train today. I guess that was my fault. I picked too noisy a spot to talk to you then. The fire went on for quite a while. The fire brigade were called and they closed the railway line for over an hour. So in the end, we were late getting to the airport and we had to get a taxi from Barcelona because we wouldn't have got there in time by the train. And that was our mini break in Tarragona.